Hi everyone. Today I want to get closer to the core of the reason why I started doing these videos. That is effectively what you can see here. So this is a visual representation of my values and belief system. It's something that I created over time, trying to be more self-aware and more focused on what actually drives me and what constitute the core of my being in the office, but honestly not only. So what it is. So I try to define four categories that are effectively starting from an extremely high level that I call values, and then go closer and closer to the day-to-day work in order to represent what is at the core of my decisions and my behaviors. So in the next days, I will go in details into each of them, but for today, I wanted to explain you how I use it. So the reason because it was printed beside my desk on the windows is because I'm a very visual person, so I need to see something to remind me, and also I need to see something to understand it. So I created these pictures in order to be quick in getting back to the concept that I developed behind that. Actually, the scope is finding always the quickest and best way to recenter myself into this system. In the sense that it's easy to say how we want to be and how we want to behave, but actually life poses us a lot of challenges. So I find very important as more often as possible to go back to what we managed to understand about how we want to be, how we want to behave, and try continuously to refer to it and check also when we look back if what we're doing is actually close or not to what how we wanted to behave. So in summary, this is a tool. It's nothing more than a tool, but that is something that helps explaining who I am and how I want to behave in the office. It's helping me a lot in the last few years, where I develop it first and then use it. Is helping me a lot. Staying close to what I think matters, and also is something that I believe is important to explain to you, because we all have something like that. The fact that then maybe not all of us are forthcoming in showing it, or that show it in different ways is a different matter, but we are all defined by something of this form, and I think that is important for me to share it, because effectively in our day-to-day interactions, this is how I see the world, and this is also how I filter the information, and also honestly how I judge and how I take decisions on topics. So I hope that you will see in the next day, while we will go through all of them, and you recognize that this is how I try to define our activities, the way in which we behave within the department and in the organization. And at the same time, I hope that the next videos will help explaining a bit better, because I realized that although I worked a lot on this concept in the background, and probably you might have already lived the consequence of it in our day-to-day activities in the office. I never really took the time to explain you in details what I mean with that. And I believe it's important to take the time to do it, especially now, because we are a bit less close to each other, but we need to be closer in the way in which we work. And this is the best way I found to try to explain you how I define what the team is, and our strategies, our tactics, and also our relationships with the other team members, the colleagues, the stakeholders, and all of that. So in the next days, I will go through all of them. I will try to define a bit better what the categories means, and then within that, which are the specific keywords and their meaning behind that. So I hope